I wonder if the mic is live. Of course it is if I'm doing stuff like this, right? Ladies and gentle people, welcome again. This time it's time for a little bit of a different video, and as usual, a different stream than usual. This is going to be a guide or considerations for a character build, which I'm planning to play through as well. Maybe with tweaks here and there, but I'm gonna tell you about the tweaks as well. Cyberpunk 2077, it's going to be a more authentic experience. At least that's the goal. And by authentic, I mean close to realistic. However, I know that obviously computer games are not realistic. That's not a good word to use. So, disclaimer or first announcement of the day. Let me check the stream health real quick. So, first thing first, close to realistic, but obviously not that close. Authentic, because I would like to. This is a grim, dark, dystopian universe, Cyberpunk, and the experience of playing through it may not be that, if you choose to not to be so. However, it is quite fun to create a character that you will be challenged in playing, or you can tweak around, tweak your own difficulty around, and still have the skills, weapon types, quick hacking, net running, stuff like that, which would make your character truly authentic in the world. Let me use the same phrase again. So I've been talking about this when I started the authentic Cyberpunk playthrough with a corpo female who was mainly gonna use revolvers, pistols, going for headshots, etc., etc. This build I'm gonna talk about right now widens the possibilities a bit from that. You can use various weapons. Actually, as I last checked, it is possible to use any weapons with this, even if you don't mind a little bit more difficulty. And since the game, as of right now, I think it's 1.12, it is not difficult at all. So, even on the very hard difficulty, which is the Death March equivalent of Cyberpunk 2077, it's not that hard. The hardest part so far for me in all my playthroughs in the hardest difficulty was very hard. I'm sorry, let's call it very hard. It is called in the game. Was a car chase when you need to shoot, and the enemies are bullet sponges basically at that level in the beginning. And even that was fun. Like, I died about, I don't know, 3-4 times, but it was fun. And the goal is to make the gameplay fluid and fun. And I'm not gonna tell you. Okay, I'm going to present a few. Pick this skill, improve this after this, and let's see what happens. But I'm also gonna give you considerations on how to tweak the build around if you want to have a slightly different or vastly different character to play. Of course, today as well, we're gonna go back to our lovely character creation tool. The Nukes and Dragons guys made this, and they made awesome Fallout 76 character build editor on the web, and if you search for Nukes and Dragons, you're gonna find them. As you can see, the Outer Worlds, Skyrim. But we are here for Cyberpunk 2077, and let's see. So, among all the build videos I've seen, it almost always talks about kind of the end game and level 50 stuff you can do, and how to get there, how to be absolutely mashing enemies into a pulp video build. However, that's not how you start the game, and for quite a while you can't actually reach to that levels. Or let me put it this way. You can get very fast to a certain skill or a certain attribute you want to use so that your build is strong. But what comes after what and what you should pick after what is always a little bit of a weird ground in many games. But I feel it truly, especially for Cyberpunk. You need to pay attention to what comes after what, how high I should get that attribute, because after a while leveling is gonna of course, I'm not talking about exploiting leveling in the game right now, and there are various ways. They've already patched a few, but there are various ways in which there are others playing too in the room. So there are various ways in which you can fast level up your character, and most of those are exploits. Some of those are obvious ways which should be patched out, and some of them are completely legit if you want to go that way. Albeit, well, okay, one of them I recall is actually quite fun for a while, and you don't really need to do it too long to level up fast, and you can do it that way. But I like to enjoy the game, as I said, authentic experience. It should be hard. It should be hard to be a mercenary in Cyberpunk. It's very hard to become a solo in this universe, or a good one. And also, I think that the gameplay should reflect that. So if you want to challenge yourself, just do the quests, missions. Those are the ones that give out the most experience anyway, and you can level up. And the way we're gonna go about this, okay, let me check if we're even. Again, some stream health check real quick, just to see is all this fine. It should be fine. We are live. Oh, look at that! We can see the stream monitor. Nice. So, the one thing we should do is you're gonna obviously start out by trying to pick a direction you're gonna go. I suggest, if you want to make the game really hard, go for something that doesn't make combat any easier for you. Level that up first. That way you're going to challenge yourself a little bit more, because the game really, if you are experienced in computer games in any way, the game is gonna be a breeze. If you feel like it's any hard, then you can just lower the difficulty anyway for yourself, or you can just, in the middle of something where you feel your character's lacking, you can just pick the skills wherever you need some more. So let's go. I think this is the one we're gonna do. Let me see. Okay. So let me see how we should go about it. So what I suggest, in order to make the game more authentic, it's also kind of weird if you are a walking tank with an arsenal of weapons just waltzing around the streets of Night City. You can do that. It's fun, but this is not gonna be the build for that. Of course, you can tweak this around, because we're gonna mainly go for reflexes. If you go for body, you can use the light machine guns and shotguns and various other bigger guns. I would use maybe a sniper rifle or something of an SMG or something like that. Yeah, maybe like a submachine gun. Otherwise, use handguns. It's fun. It's lower damage, especially in the beginning. Again, it makes the game more challenging. However, the one thing you can do in builds, and I've seen this come up so many times about Cyberpunk, and it's a weird design decision, that they logged some of the iconic weapons, unique weapons, so to speak. They logged it behind the technical ability skill attribute and the crafting skill. Not so much the skill, but the attribute. The technical ability also levels up engineering, or allows you to level up engineering higher and higher, because you can only level up the skill itself under the attribute as high as the attribute is. And the engineering uses the tech weapons. You can use the tech revolvers, tech pistols. Is there even a tech pistol? Just like that? Yeah, no, of course there are. But even all other tech guns will benefit greatly from this. And what I like about the tech guns, especially, is that they look like they could be transported easier. That's one thing I like about them very much, is that they could be transported fairly easy and even maybe concealed, which is, for a mercenary in Night City, it's quite handy. It's not that big of a deal if you walk around with a tank on your back, cyberware everywhere, but just make it a little bit more authentic again. Okay, let's see. What I would do first, if you want to make it especially harder for yourself, just level up your technical ability. What I would start out with is very likely this. So the starting abilities is reflexes bumped up to 6, technical ability 6, and cool at 4. Again, it's your choice if you go for more cool. I would go technical ability right from the get-go because it gives you a little bit more survivability because of the extra armor. However, it's not that big of a deal, and you're gonna be squishy anyway in low levels in very hard difficulty. But it opens up the crafting opportunities for you right from the get-go, so you can make your weapons better. You can make any weapon better, like this. But it's still gonna make the game more challenging for you because you are not speccing into weapon perks right away. But you could start out, of course, because of this also high reflexes. But we won't do that. What we're gonna do is go to crafting, and as we level it up, well, you need to craft a few things for level 7. But let's go level 7 when we leveled up also a little bit more. And what are you gonna do? You're gonna do rare item crafting, obviously. Now this is where it also gets interesting. The game is very generous with giving you crafting components. It's also very easy to farm them. It's also easy to farm money, and it's also easy to buy them. So unless you have lots of perk points, or you want to go completely crazy about crafting, again, if you want to make the game more difficult for you in the beginning, you can drop the skill points here. These things can be respected later for 100,000 euro dollars. You can buy a token that is respecting you, similar to the Witcher 3, the respect potion. I think it was a potion. And so even if you decide against it, then just respect that. You cannot respect the attributes, however. So you need to calculate with them in mind and in advance. But what we're gonna do is go for Glassman. I don't think it's worth it to drop perk points into this. I think these are perks, yeah. Because gaining more components when disassembling, it's cool, not that necessary. It's just 1 point, so maybe in the beginning just go for it. But in the later on, when you feel lacking on a certain extra perk point that would be useful, I just respec and dump it elsewhere. But it's fair. Like again, I said it's fairly easy to get a lot of crafting components, even if you don't pick up all the junk. But if you want that, we can go that route. Now this one again is the same thing. 3 points for 15% chance to getting a fiend component. This can come in handy if you disassemble found legendary items and epic items, because the epics and the legendaries are not that easy to come by. Actually, that's not even true. Epic components are quite easy. But again, it's a little bit, the crafting system is broken in this game right now. I think they would fix it in a coming patch, because in case you didn't know, you can craft medical items, health kits basically. If you craft the epic one also only need common and uncommon components. You can craft it, and if you disassemble this epic one, you just craft it from, like I said, only common and uncommon. You disassemble it and you get back epic components as well. While you have a skill perk point here logged behind technical ability 16, is allowing to upgrade lower quality components into higher quality. It's much cheaper and more efficient, especially if you have the chance to craft an item for free and perks like that, to just say that, hey, don't worry about this, just craft the epic stuff and you can get back as much epic component as you can. However, not legendary ones. At least I didn't manage to get that far. Maybe, as far as I know, that you maybe there's no way to cheese that in this way, unless you're using some exploit. But again, this may be patched out soon. So feel free to dump some points here if you want. But in the long run, you can also make it harder for yourself not to be able to craft that many things right away just by not putting points there. However, putting points in technical ability in general lets you do the crafting stuff earlier. Now what you can do, let me see if this is actually something we're gonna reach right away. Well, you can make it you pretty much make the game harder for yourself if you only level up technical ability in the beginning. At least to a point, you know, where you can craft better weapons with a little bit more damage. But again, that's also, why would you just don't put perks there? It's not that necessary. What is very good here is the, let me see, this one here, for example. The technical ability is 16. Disassembling gets you the attached mods from the item. With this on, you can just feel free to chuck legendary mods to anything you use. That in by itself goes a little bit against the goal of, you know, authentic cyberpunk and make it harder for yourself, because that's essentially what's making it easier, because you should just reuse the same legendary mods if ever you collect them for either buy them or find them in the world. So it's up to you, but it's a quality of life thing, really. On the other hand, you will not get there for the first 20 levels. I think by normal playing, you will have a few legendary mods, but you don't really need them. Again, the game is not that hard right now, so you actually do good for you if you make the fights a little bit harder for yourself. What you can do, however, is level up in a way. Your early level up, you get 1 point attribute point, and you can level up in a way that unlocks the skills you would like to use without hindering the other progression. So what you can do is, either we should go right away for technical ability 12. You can then unlock the crafting perks as well. Let's go do that. Let's see what happens. I'm just gonna whip it out and let's see what happens now. So if we go this way, and as the game should be harder for you, you may or may not want to have the, you know, upgrading is you have a chance to upgrade for free, you have the chance to craft for free, and there are also crafting cost reductions at 14. But just go to 12 to unlock the epic item crafting. And when you have that, engineering also will unlock some nice stuff. For example, this, because if you want to play around a critical build, then there are lots of nice critical boosting perks which you might want to use. They are not that necessary, because you can get your critical chance pretty high even with the attributes and mods on the items, or good rolls on the items. But why not? You can put the points there, and then you are kind of relying on the critical chance, because you invested the perks as well into critical chance instead of pure flat out damage increases. It's nice to improve the damage as well after a while, not because the game is getting that harder, but because it's just fun to finish up the fights faster. You can just roll through enemies. And the one thing that goes for very hard difficulty, and it goes for it very nicely, is that your character remains squishy, usually. Just a few hits and you die. You need to move around, and you need to utilize cover and everything in order not to get hit. That's the joy of the game at that point. But it doesn't mean that you can't shoot back and kill enemies rather fast as well. So yeah, go for it, go wild. But here, yeah, if you go up to 12, you can start. Actually, what you can do is go up to 14 if you plan to use tech weapons, because then boom, fully charged tech weapons do not shoot automatically. This is, funnily enough, this is not true for many of it. Like lots of the tech pistols which charge, they do multiple shots at the same time, or like short bursts. They're gonna just do the short bursts, as far as I've noticed. I don't know if this is also a bug or intended, but this is good. This is good for tech precision rifles, for example. Very handy. You can decide when to actually release the shot. Again, this is nice for just having really big bangs for the tech weapons. You can go for Uber Charge again, huge damage bump. And against the mechs you can do, because mechs are really tanky. That's actually cool that way, so you may not want to pick that perk either. But here you can see you have all the possibilities of going full on ham with tech weapons if you're planning to go use them. And it's fun to use them to quickly dismantle the enemies. Hardship might come from not picking these perks right away. That's the interesting part of it. And that's a weird part of it as well. Let's go first, just to continue to cool, just to see where we can land. And this is basically the main consideration here. Is there are usually not real pros of going straight to 20, maximum 20 in a certain attribute. You could, because there are some nice like for tech weapons, especially if you go to 20, you can check the tech weapons ignore armor. This is overpowered. This is so broken that I if you would like to be a little bit more challenged by the game, I would suggest not to pick this at all. It's just too overpowered. Unless you want to, you know, like I said, you want to very quickly breeze through enemies. If you can hit them, sure, go for it. It's awesome. It's an awesome feeling. If you want a game a little bit more challenging, don't put perk points there. Let's go for handguns and let's see where we land. Yeah, if you can see how like I said, I would go for technical ability 14 just to make the game harder for myself. But that way also opening up the epic crafting right from the get-go, and opening up the more control over the weapons. If you want to play around with, you know, timing, just don't pick this. Otherwise it's a very strong thing if you want to use these weapons. And again, just because you spec'd into this, you don't have to use these kind of weapons. I like to use power weapons a lot, and those don't benefit from these perks at all, but why not? Just have it ready for, or when maybe you have one tech precision rifle that was rolled very nice for you. There's also a very nice iconic rifle. Let me just quickly check which is it. Since we're here again, iconic tech. It is Widowmaker. The Widowmaker is a pretty cool. Oh, look at that! Someone is live. Yeah, nice. Extra life is life. So Widowmaker is a pretty cool tech weapon. It's a tech precision rifle, an iconic one, and it is poison damage basically. So, and you can with this build you can go spec into poison, so you have kind of the best in slot stuff you can do with this if it rolls very well, especially if you upgrade it from rare to legendary in the end. But you might want to use any other legendary with the specific damage type or extra stuff you want on it. It's okay, but this is a very nice one, just to note. So you can go up to here for more control. This already makes it the game harder for you because it's level 9 and you didn't really do anything apart from this. Whenever you feel like your character lacks in anything, more movement speed by sneaking, or and you would like to have the cold blood movement boost in combat, because it's actually very nice, more fluid if you just bump this up as well. That's cool. But you don't necessarily need to. The harder the game, it will be, of course, for a longer time. We're not gonna bump body at all. It's gonna remain in 3. Even if you use some of the heavier rifles, power weapons in the game require you to have body 6. However, if you want a game a little bit harder again, just don't bother. Leave body at 3, unless you want to go this way, of course, but not in this build. Reflexes handguns. Again, we are only at 6. We already have like flat out damage increase, hash multiplier. What I like to do is go for the crit chance and go for the headshot multiplier. Not only from the get-go if you need it, otherwise just pick the crafting perks. And if you want, you can do this, and this makes you want to focus on criticals and want to focus on headshots. All the other stuff is hard, it stays hard, so that's cool. What you can also do after a while, like you bump it up to 7, and grab the 25% extra damage for 5+ meters. Again, it's better with revolvers and pistols. It makes you really feel like a true desperado in this world, and also like a true solo with the pistols. And so it's lore friendly to use these, and also very much fun, because in the beginning they really don't have the proper damage output unless the pistol is either automatic, because there are some of those, or a good tech weapon. So you can have very nice revolver play with this, while still keeping the game relatively hard for you. And again, the main consideration, how far you should bump this up to unlock something. Just go to this site, check it out. You can go for limb damage, extra unit reflexes 11 for that. I like to go for extra crit damage, so again 11 for that. As you can see, it's like kind of concentric. So middle is reflexes 3, usually the first few skills, and then we go in a circle and widen the higher stuff we need. Now here you can get an extra crit boost if you bump up reflexes to 20 right away. Then you have this, which is quite nice. It's you need to perform a headshot to get that crit chance boost for a short time. So that again makes you play more on point in order to get the bonuses you get. So this is nice. What's nice in improving reflexes, we don't put points in body, so we won't get increased health by that. What we can do is bump up reflexes, and we should get the increased evasion as an additional defense. And this is actually a good idea. Let me show you what body does. If you increase it, it just gives you health, stamina, fist damage, melee damage, stuff like this. We don't want that. We want a lot of crit chance, because it's chance based, and it's not always in your favor, makes the game a little harder. Evasion is actually very nicely works for you, but it's not unbalanced. As far as I noticed, it's not all over the place, even at 20 reflexes, unless you have armor specs, because this bonus you get here is actually, don't worry, she's taken care of. What you get here is this bonus is also refers to the stuff you have in armor. So you have a base evasion, and you get the evasion boost from reflexes. So that's very cool if you spec into it, but you don't have to. Again, if you want to make a game a little bit harder, just don't spec into armor evasion mods, but you still get a little bit of boost from reflexes. Technical ability is straight up armor. A little bit survivability is good, but you're gonna be squishy anyway. You could go for full intelligence, but basically our damage dealing abilities are reflexes or technical ability, but you can swap them around. Technical ability is also needed because of the crafting. If you want to have the specific weapons, if you want to have all the weapons, the best in slot weapons, if you want to fool around with crafting and crafting specifications in the game, which is fun, I like it at least, even with this current broken system, then you must pick this skill anyway. And I like tech weapons, so why not? You don't necessarily need to max it out for crafting. I think you can craft legendaries with 18. Yep, legendaries at 18. But you might as well, only because of this ultimate skill here, either the armor penetration, which, like I said, not because of that. You shouldn't pick it. It's very broken. But maybe this, if you manage to also level up your engineering skill to 20, which takes a while. But if you mow through all the enemies and do all kinds of quests fast and guns blazing, it could be very fast, even in legit play. Well, very fast enough. But you have it here. That revamp is again boosting your damage in case you need it. At that point, I don't think you would need it, but why not? And all chargeable weapons. This actually refers to the gorilla fists as well, which we don't use body, but you, if you want to have a close quarters alternative with huge ass power, sure, go for it. Or you can use the monowire as well, which is very fun to use. The animations are broken and wonky. I think they will fix that too. But it's a very fun weapon to use. And if they fix the animations and the hit registration, it should be a really fun weapon. This also bumps the damage of that. And these are perks, as you can see, that you can bump additional perk points too. That's why I said it's either worth it to later respec, just to bump more stuff into the skills perks you use. You can put, I think it's infinite points here. It's not infinite because you don't get infinite amount, but you get the point. So yeah, this is nice to have, but you don't really need to rush it. I mean, you can enable grenade hits. If you want to do grenade play, it's fun to do it. There are grenades in the game because there are grenades in all kinds of games and also in real life. I guess that's the point. Otherwise, the grenades are kind of lackluster. Not bad though. Interesting enough, against my character, I feel like the grenades are not even that effective. Like if the enemy uses it and I manage to, and I'm never in this game. I'm never afraid when I see the marker of, oh, someone has primed the grenade and it's being thrown at me. It's never unlike in Escape from Tarkov, for example, when grenades are pretty devastating. So dare you run or do something about it. In this game, it's just kind of weird. But against the enemies, it's cool. And if you have high critical chance, yeah, dump some points here. You can again make the game harder for yourself by picking these kind of things. Like, I need to use grenades. I need to use various specific things to increase my damage to manageable levels. Why not? Just do that. If you need more survivability, pick some cool and cold-blood abilities like the increased resistances and stuff. We will get there, but you get the point. So yeah, get up here. Why not? And just get this low. You wouldn't get this too high. Even with normal play, if you just play normally, especially if you play casually, like most people, unless you really focus on these things, you might end up finishing the game even earlier, and then you will reload the save from before, which the game offers you, and then you can do the side gigs and stuff. Side gigs are really fun, so you should do that. But again, it will not level that fast. This gives nice bonuses too. I think we can see the bonuses here. As for let me see where we can see the extra bonuses. Like if the skill is there. Oh yeah, it's here. Oh god, of course. So if you have 9 engineering, you get these buffs. You get 3 extra perk points just from this skill. When you use tech weapons, you have it equipped. You get extra armor. Charge time is faster. Stuff like this. And again, crit chance. So whatever you use also gets better. You can also limit this buff for yourself if you want to make the game even more challenging by not improving all your attributes kind of at the same time. So you always have a skill ceiling. Because as you can see, even in the builder, if I have 8 and I can't have 9. Like I said. So you can do that. But as you can see, even at level 10, level 50 is the max, and even at level 10 we will have level 14 or something if you just go for that. So you have skill ceilings in all this. What you should do is use also the other skills. Try to... What makes the game really fun, in my opinion, after hundreds of hours, is if you try to use kind of all the things at your disposal in fun ways. Use the breach protocol and quick hacking at tight spots, from behind cover, peek out, quick hack an enemy, while it's weakened, pick off one of his teammates, stuff like that, and it makes the fights more enjoyable if you just jump around like this. Not to mention, of course, everything you do and build this game, it actually just makes your life very easy. That's why it's weird that the game is so easy. That even without cyberware, even without good cyberware, it's completely manageable. And you don't even need to focus on one type of weapon, really. You just need to land your hits and avoid getting hit. That's the. But it's relatively easy to do so. There are lots of cover in the game. You just need to choose your engagements wisely, or otherwise sneak around if you want to sneak around. So what I would do is this. Yes, handguns, go this way. You can go up to 11 maybe for this, just to get the limb damage, but it's not even necessary. Just get the crit damage increase. So again, it's chance based. It's a little bit of difficulty. You can get to be a finisher with this. That's also fun because, like I said, more fluid fights. I think it's more fun to play without recoil reduction. I think after a while you can't even avoid those skills because some have recoil reduction in there built in. Maybe not. It's fine. This is also nice. This makes you move differently because you should know that you get an evasion buff if you keep on dodging. So that's a cool thing to do to make it more fun. What else do we have here? Well, for now, maybe this much. Assault. You can go blades with this as well if you pump up reflexes, but why would you can? With the melee weapons, the game is nice. The difficult, I think, but only because, like I said, you will get hit, and you need to mitigate that as a tank, and you need to spec into various stuff for it to be manageable. If that's your cup of tea, go for it. What I would do is maybe, in order to make it more authentic, mainly handguns because you can realistically carry 2 of them very nicely, and maybe a SMG or a tech rifle because it kind of opens up in your hand and stuff. So yeah, here we have the SMG stuff. You can get extra headshot damage because you plugged into this. You would want to make those headshots count. I don't like these reload time reduction perks because although they make the game faster and everything, but it basically takes care of one of the systems you need to manage, your ammo. And okay, this is not that big of a deal. This is only 20%. But it's actually fun to know when you're out of ammo. It's fun. You need to go to cover immediately. You need to manage it well. Maybe it's especially fun with shotguns. And if you want, we can just quickly do that with. You can just go for body instead of reflexes. But the considerations are the same. Try to limit yourself if you want it harder. If you want it easier, even then try to pick perks which need you to do something specific instead of just flat out damage increase, flat out reload speed increase, flat out reduce recoil. Because then you need to work for your kills, you work for your fights, not just letting the game. The reverse is also true. If you want a game to be easier, if you want to have a fluid experience in experiencing the story, again, then pick those perks which makes it a breeze. Maybe even use smart weapons. You don't even need to aim that way, and it's actually very fun to use and very lore friendly. Why not? It's also in technical ability. There's some buffs in engineering. I think there's the reload speed, but for smart weapons it's actually like it's 10%. It's not that big of a deal. Yeah, dump the points there. Why not? Even if you use power weapons, by the way, this is very fun. If you want to make yourself go for ricochet hits, it's fun to play around with it, and it also is making it difficult because, like I said, the game is very accessible in the sense if you can make the headshots just clean, you will just breeze through everything. But if you try to play around with the various mechanics that are in there, but that are not forced on you in any way. Force it on yourself. It's gonna make it more fun and more difficult for sure. But yeah, that's the consideration. So increase these only to the sense how your level is increasing. Don't go overboard. Don't go straight to 18 and stuff. Why not? Maybe one or two. Again, cool. Increase it a little bit. Yeah, dump some points in here. You can get the cold blood skill increased by just defeating enemies, especially if I think if you're entering combat and straight up enter combat by defeating someone. Some of the skills that are leveling up are tricky, but you can just look it up in the wikis. But here, again, you can go up to level 11 fairly fast and pick this. Increased headshot damage. Again, you are forced to do, if you want to do more damage, you are forced to do those headshots. But this opens up a lot of defensive stuff for you as well. Like some health gem buff, but it's really pointless. But if you want to go for it, why not? But if you use quick hacks, which you should, like I mentioned, you can get quick hacks buffs. And what you can do is go for these procs as well, like the cold blood. Go all out on skill points here, and this can stack up to 3 times. Maybe set the duration much higher so you can play around with it. Get the stack amount higher, and get more armor. These are not the best perks to pick. This will not be the best character build you have, but this will be definitely hard because you made a choice of getting the fun, albeit weaker perks. And like I said, you can play around with it and reset. It's not hard to make money, especially if you go for technical ability. You can craft stuff fairly easily, and crafted nice stuff is expensive. You can just sell those things if you want. Especially if you go for crafting 20. And if you craft stuff, then you get there fairly quickly. In this case, it's fairly quickly, really, because it just depends on how much stuff you craft. You can just grab this, and then it's even increased. And when you sell something for hundreds and thousands of $, then 10% is a nice boost. Why not? And you can also dump points in this, but you might want the challenge to actually farm the money. And it's also just go through the game. Money will flow, don't worry about it. And then you can respec if you want to experiment with more stuff. But again, if you go for 11 here, headshot damage again in this one, fairly nice. This by itself only gives you movement speed, which just makes the game more fluid, feel more fluid, which is again alone worth it. And it's not really survivability, apart from that you can get to cover faster, which is fairly strong now that I think about it, but it's not anything unbalanced or whatever. I think if you bump resistance is 5% per stack. This is actually weirdly phrased because it stacks up to 3, but per stack is this 1 stack, just 5. I guess it also means just 5% per one enemy defeated. That's what it means. And if you defeat enemies faster, that's why you go for crits and go for headshots. So it can be achievable. You can stack this up, and then you can have increased survivability by this, increased survivability with armor. It's fairly strong as well, the 20% if you are higher in armor. But armor is also kind of broken in the game, so with very high armor builds, you can maybe tank 5 or 6 shots from a heavy rifle or a heavy gun, and without any armor whatsoever, you can tank 2, like 2 and 6. That 4 extra hits, which you shouldn't even be hit in the first place, because that's also kind of not authentic, right? If you get hit in the by a blast of a heavy machine gun, it's okay if your character feels it. It's the point of the heavy machine gun. But if you want to make it that way, yeah, you can just get the increases here, and you don't need to go all out on armor anyway. Armor is just, dropping everywhere in the game anyway as well. So that's even to a weird extent, armor is just, you shouldn't even focus on it. really. But this alone, like you need to move to be more to for the more survivability to have. That's cool. If you feel like and again like this, like something offensive again, your quick hack cooldowns will be reduced fairly quickly. You can use them again and again and again. This makes us go to intelligence, because what I suggest, intelligence will be only increased around 8. I think up to 8, because that's the whole point we have. Like we have 320 20 skills, and this one at 8. That's level 50. But you can only you should get to 8 here much earlier than you get to 20 in these, just to make it not so focused on one thing. With 8, you will not be the bestest netrunner ever, but you will unlock just the right extra stuff you need. Mass vulnerability makes it easier for you to pick enemies. Resistances will be lowered as well. They will be easier to be affected by various damage over time stuff, which is fun to look at also during the battles. And you can pick utility stuff like this just to spend the perk points if you want to make the game in general harder for yourself, but you don't have to. This is just even extra. Quick hacking, you can bump these up so you can actually meaningfully use quick hacks in combat, because if you don't have proper recovery, then you will use it once or twice, especially with a build that's not focusing on net running. So you can use it once or twice and that's it. For the rest of the combat, you're just with your weapons. So in order to spruce it up a little bit, spice it up, you should just pick this. No enemy revealing, don't even use the ping if you can help it, because everything is so visual in this game. You will get to see even enemies are marked with little stuff above their heads. I really don't like it. I would love it to be turned off. I understand that the optical cyberware makes it for you and everything, but I don't like it. I choose not to use those things. It's just more fun to actually see the enemy and try to engage them, and not just shooting through countless walls with tech weapons. It's fun for a while, don't get me wrong, you should try it, shooting at the silhouettes, but I suggest otherwise. You can use a weak link if you wanna. Actually, lumping the points here makes you better in terms of harder stuff to hack. But I don't think I've ever seen something that needed. Okay, if you want to destroy something and explode something, then a device that way damage an enemy, then you might need lots more cyberdeck RAM. But other than that, it's just 1 or 2, so it's fine. Net cooldown reduction, again, it's fun. Cooldown will be reduced. Eliminating a target, and this counts for like you quick hack someone, they get stunned in any way, or become under an effect, and then you can just shoot them. You recover instantly 1 RAM. Awesome. So this is already open. Duration is fine. You can go there with other cyberware if you want to go. Even if you want to focus a little bit more on net running, I suggest using this build for the fun of it, to actually use your weapons. And if you want duration bonuses and stuff, use the cyberware, which we'll get to in a moment. Alright, so technical ability. Yeah, after this point, when you're in level 26, which is quite high in terms of, if you want to just focus on the story, you usually get to around level. At least that's what happened to me with 2 characters. That I wanted to play, just go with the flow of the story. If something feels urgent, then do that first instead of going out and doing 10 side gigs just because I want to level my skills. No, if it feels urgent, I want to go there, I want to help this guy. The characters are bombarding you with phone calls after 24 hours in game, which is fairly easy to get to, so all the quest chains will progress very fast. You will get to about level 20 something by when you can reach the ending if you want. Even if you are going out of your way a little bit, level 30. If you want to level up higher than that, you need to do the side gigs and various stuff in the various districts of the city, which is, like I said, it's actually very fun. You should do the side gigs. They are very cool. There are even missed opportunities in them. They should have more dialogue and more stuff and story around them. Instead of just many of them having a few lines of dialogue with your fixer over the phone, and there are various tidbits here and there sprinkled in the world in forms of data shards you can read, or computer messages and stuff. There are some very nice idle dialogues or chats with the NPCs on location if you manage to sneak up on them. But other than that, it should be more. Because some of the side gigs are very interesting in terms of story, of what's happening in the world, what it makes it feel like a lived-in night city. Again, so if you can get there, and as you can see, the highest ability we have is 14 epic stuff. By this time, you can just start bumping it up. Let's go to 18. So wherever you pick, at level 30 anyway, it is okay to craft. To upgrade and craft your epic weapons at 30. Also, these are actually true on multiple levels. One of them is, I think the game can be even finished at level 50 with level 10ish, 20ish weapons without much of a hassle at all. Especially if you spec'd into crit chance, crit damage, and stuff like. Even if you have a lower level legendary, it kind of just works, which is good and bad at the same time. It's good because you don't need the hassle of I need to upgrade my equipment constantly in order to keep up with my level, so I can tackle the enemies, because I don't even understand this kind of itemization anyway, that everything must have an item and looking identical and everything. But yeah, this one is punching harder, but why not? They have it just like in The Witcher 3, but also like in The Witcher 3, you could, of course, you would make the game harder for yourself, but you could use lower level gear quite a bit. It's not that punishing. But at level 30 you can start doing the epic and legendary stuff, even if you plan to upgrade them every level, because after that basically you get the task of farming the money for the components of legendary components, for example, or farming the equipment to have enough legendary components, because every upgrade is incrementally costing more and more. So if you craft a weapon at this level, then you need to upgrade it 20 more times to get to the max level. But I would do it level 30, around level 30 have the epic stuff, around level 40-ish have the legendary stuff, and then you still can play around with the upgrade mechanic if you want, but the level 40 legendary stuff is very, very strong anyway. Maybe you would find out that, okay, the game is too easy now, beyond the point of fun, so you would just lower it back or use some subpar stuff. But yeah, these are the considerations you should do. If you go up technical ability, now you can craft legendary items. Like I said, you don't necessarily to do this. If you have the inkling to have the best in slot weapon, I would suggest rather doing this and craft your stuff, even if it's just a normal, not an iconic weapon, but a normal epic weapon, normal legendary weapon variant. Bump your damage bonus here. Like 5% is not that big of a deal. It can make a difference, but it's not that big of a deal, and you don't need to spec the perk points in other stuff. If you plan to use various types of weapons, like from tech to revolvers to submachine guns, everything, you can just do that. Again, at 20 you can improve on the damage related stats, which is the damage as well, as far as I know. So it's 10% in total with 3 points, and also 5% damage over time stuff as well. Yeah. So this is mainly the gist of it. Yeah, right. How long are we alive? Hours. Not hours, but almost an hour. So yeah, this is what if you do this, I think the game is legit more fun. And this is weird because purposefully hindering yourself to have more fun in a game is kind of weird. Because either the difficulty setting should do that, like if you want to breeze through it, if you want a certain play around a certain way, then just have the easiest difficulty and make it more difficult for yourself in other ways. If you want, otherwise, yeah, it's just the art is in movement. That's why I told you that if you really want to just move around and coming up with interesting ideas of how to sneak upon people and stuff, you can use a stealthy melee build, which can be also reflexes and blades. You can do the same thing with this one as well if you bump up the cool as well. Because in this one, not flat out damage bonuses. Try not to do that unless you feel like you need it. Cold build is fun in terms of this extra perk as well, but by the time you reach it, you might not even need it anymore. Because of other stuff having the other stuff can carry you easily. But this is a nice bonus if it works. These ultimate skills also are not prone to not work after loading saves in the game right now. So it's kinda, you know, they should really fix this game much more. But in my hundreds of hours of gameplay, by the way, I don't have any skill at 20 still. Because I experimented with so many things. I know how to get there, but it's just never felt the need to get the ultimate perks. Because as you can see, this needs the attribute at 20, but this needs the skill itself at 20. That's what the ultimate stuffs are. Yep. So, survivability as you need it, coming from cold butt stuff, if you can do it, or from armor crafting, armor mods crafting. From various vendors you can buy the build crafting specs. You get the point by this time, I think. More than enough on how to tweak around the difficulty for you while also remaining in very, very much fun territory. Because if you follow these, then very hard difficulty can pose a challenge, and it's very fun. It's absolutely doable challenge. Yeah. And again, by not picking up everything, this just makes it harder for you to not swim in crafting components. This also just makes it makes it for you not to swim in crafting components. But as crafting is weird, again, even if you craft a legendary variant of something, it can have rolls. And with iconic weapons, if you craft a legendary and it doesn't roll the way you want, you're pretty much set with it, unless you reload. And that is so weird. I would love to have a mechanic in the game which allows you to tweak your weapons, which is not crafting or not upgrading, but re-rolling basically the stats on it in some way. If the stats rolling is so random and so weirdly put together, then why wouldn't you have it the same character try to get the weapon, try to tweak your own equipment to be better, if there's a possibility for it to be better. Otherwise, yeah, you're just stuck with, especially if you don't have enough materials and you don't plan to enjoy the farming out of, yeah, I crafted 4 legendaries of the same item type when I got the one I really wanted to use. Like I said, if you want to use that, you can craft multiple legendaries and it will turn out differently in every level and stuff. A little bit, not that much by the way. There are a few variations in the stats usually. Especially for iconic weapons, there's not too many variations, but with iconic weapons you can only craft a legendary one only once, because you need the epic one for it, and it's gonna get destroyed. So that's a one-time thing. If you don't get the best in slot 1 and you want, then you need to reload the save. It's pretty much forcing you to save scum. That's not that much fun in my opinion, but this is what they went with. So, but all in all, the ultimate thing we want to reach, and as you can see, we have enough perk points even with the stuff we put down, and I didn't even set up the usual way we play. You know, even body stuff will reach this. You use some shotguns, it will reach level 3. This will get there. So the one thing we do, we're gonna bump it up to 20, and this too. The way you bump it up after one another is really up to you, how you feel like. Do you want to focus on certain weapon types, or being more broad, focus on crafting right away? uh, and I think the way it's done in this game, how iconic weapons are very strong, but very nicely rolled legendary base weapon, like the base type of the iconic weapon, rolled legendary. That's most of the time is even better, unless you go for something very specific, like the poison effect on the Widowmaker and the extra projectiles with the poison and stuff. But if you want to just use the weapon for fun, and the best in slot from the base weapon, and you can craft the legendary over and over. That's a good goal to have, to amass the materials, to farm up the materials, or to farm up the money to buy the materials, and then do the crafts. It's just a good thing. And if you want to make it easier for yourself, you know where to put the points. So yeah, that's it. But what the end goal would be? Level 50. We would go, I don't know, around 11ish, whatever, something in the handguns. You would remove the damage penalty because it's awesome. Successful headshot needed for an extra crit chance boost. This is nice, but you can also get this from Cyberware. Oh, Cyberware! Oh, we haven't talked about that at all. Increased crit chance from pistols if fully modded. I think this makes it fun. In my opinion, you would lower your damage output with the silencer, but it's very much fun to use power weapons with silencers, especially pistols. And even revolvers. I think there's some nice revolvers with silencers. Fully modding it, every mod slot is taken. Get it, even more crit chance, for which you need to work for. So that's cool, I think. If you want to be very fast in holstering and changing pistols, maybe that's also fun play, and a good way to put your perk points into something you need to work for again. This can go as well, or you can use Cyberware for this, like I said. And this is also nice, increased firing rate. This just makes the game really very, very, very fast paced. So that's cool. And this is just cool, I think. This makes you work for not reloading after every few shots if you're coming from a Call of Duty type of world where you have infinite magazines fully packed all the time with ammunition. Have this and use revolvers and pistols. Very fun fights sometimes, especially with crits. I think this is it. The other ones is just not that important. Like I said, if you feel like it, if you feel like you need extra damage and you will otherwise focus your targets, and at least you need to focus on the same target, yeah, pick this one. This goes for all the others. From this headshot with rifles, we picked that one. This is nice if you want playing submachine gun play. Then anything that requires you to do something specific. Again, you work for it, for the extra buff. Have this crit chance from behind cover. This is also interesting, is that quick melee attacks damage. There's some other things I think from cover. Defeating an enemy. Executioner is also interesting. This is also interesting because you should stay farther away, even with submachine guns. It makes the game a little bit harder again, and a little bit more authentic too, because you wouldn't want to get too close to fully, bladed cyberware guys. Why would you want to get close to them? Pistol long shot, submachine gun long shot. Yes, thank you very much. If you want to ricochet play, go for that. And that's it, pretty much. You just crit damage, buff, behind cover, but this is just flat out damage. So, at least from behind cover, so that's cool. Stuff like this. Still, we are still in these although I got 2 perk points from here, from everywhere, I think. Yeah, 19 from skills already. But it's quite realistic. We're gonna have hustle skills as well. So yeah, even more points. Ba-bum. From there. And did I put some stuff here? No, no. Yeah, we did. We did. This is just the crafting. Hmm? Alright. That's pretty much it. Except for cyberware. Cyberware. Now, what I suggest you to do, you can do whatever, anything that piques your fancy really here. This is much playable without any cyberware modification implementation whatsoever. Just use those skills, use those weapons you choose. It's gonna be difficult, but very rewarding to use them. And you can tweak around your difficulties with the skills, like I mentioned. If you want to buff it up even more or change the way the game flows, and that's the key point here, change the way the game flows, like cyberware, if you can pick this one, because you can perform hover jumps. It's very much fun to do. To big jump, hover jump, also control the landing direction, uh, fire from the stationary position up in the sky. It's good fun, but you need fingers not hurt during the story. And this is, by the way, beyond me, like how fingers as a character would have that epic one. Just give me a moment here. And we're back. Well, I am. So where were we? I think we were cyberware, and then we'll see what's. So, what is simple here? Fingers. Ooh, loud apple crunching with the microphone. Do you think so? You know what? Let's give it a try. Headphone warning issued right now. Let's see if it. Let's see what this does. Actually, let me see the sound. Mm.
Maybe you don't.
So, we were here, right? Okay. So why would fingers of all the characters have this epic fortified ankles mode, which should be prime military grade, whatever, I don't know, or corpo issued or something? I have no idea. I don't mind it being gated because of your story choices, but I don't really understand why fingers would have this. It's just weird. Or why only him? Or why it's not explained why he has it, because it would be a fun story, I guess. So yeah, like Cyberbear, arms is pretty much whatever you please. It's just the four types of arms weapons, which should be even like many more. It shouts for DLCs and stuff. What is the main thing here? What you should do is either a very good cyber deck, which offsets you having low intelligence if you want to go netrunner. You can have a very good cyber deck, and it gives you the bonuses anyway. And these give special abilities out. Are you okay? Apples everywhere, even in places where they shouldn't be. So these special abilities are the ones which gives you the extras you would otherwise miss because of your low, only 8 intelligence. But even with 8 intelligence, you would have really much fun playing with these cyber decks. Or you go operating system, and but this is pretty much either if it is berserk, but then it requires body. So if you went with that, go with berserk. It's not it doesn't give you time dilation. I think maybe it's one of the berserks does. Not really. But all the reflexes based operating systems, which slots into the same thing as the cyber deck, so you wouldn't be able to quick hack after this. But you get time dilation bonus, extra crit chance damage, extra crit damage, stuff like that. It's fun to play around with. Again, if you want to make the game harder, I would go with quick hacking, but feel free to. Actually, let me check the Cyberdex. Do they require other stuff? Oh, I think they require some more intelligence too. You can't just grab any cyber deck. But even with the 8, I think what's available. I will double check this, but let's see what's available there. Otherwise, tweak the build around if you want to go for this. Yeah, and the nervous system is one which could be fun as well. You can get the Kerenzikov, which dodging and sliding, time dilation. Again, if you want to play around with that or not, it's up to you to decide. And this is the same. This is a boost for time dilation stuff. Could be very useful depending on your play style. Yeah, this is pretty much it. The most important ones. The other ones are flavor or something very specific, like resistance boost. You can get easily almost all of it, except for the body ones, obviously. Like whatever needs cool works nicely. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the one thing we we went intelligence 8 with. I was debating this if we need to go lower higher intelligence and lower cool, for example, or lower something, lower technical ability if depending on your playstyle. Is yeah, these are pretty much body. That's not. You can get the basic ones if you want. Otherwise, just go for technical ability ones, because why not? If you want to chip your character at all. Um, the one thing here is that I decided to go with cool 20 because of the 20 perk of extra damage and critical chance when you have the cold blood active. That makes you work for it, as opposed to having higher intelligence. You would get so these you can't even use. And there are two reflexes, and there's one reflex one on the frontal cortex, and one technical ability one, which is kind of flavor, like flat out huge damage buff against drones and androids and mechs, which is very good, but maybe a little bit too overpowered. But you have the ability to slot this in if you want, because for intelligence you can only have basically, well, you can have obviously multiple, because at 8 you can have the 6 one too if you want. But what you can do is you can have this one, like the 16% extra crit damage. That's not too bad. At 8 it's barely achieved. You can have crit chance too if you want. A little bit extra. Not the level 9. But here it comes again that you should tweak around the build based on your playstyle, using the considerations I mentioned to make it fun and or more or less difficult. You can grab a few extra points in intelligence just to reach a little bit of buff here. But like I said, I didn't feel it that lowering any of the abilities, like 20 20 20, lowering any of these below this would make you lose. Like this one is really cool to have at the end if it works. Like I said, it needs to be patched out. However, modders, if you play on PC, modders have already fixed this, because of course, right? And yes, in the modded version, you can play a better Cyberpunk already for weeks now, I think so. But I'm sure they will get there in the base game soon as well. They should fix these high tier abilities. It's kind of the point of raising skills that high. Yep. What you can do is maybe, but really, this here, a really nice crit chance buff for a headshot makes you work. Nice to have reflexes 20. Cool 20 that show the technical, but now this is interesting because like I said, I wouldn't use this, so this only makes this one. But again, well, it's a flat out damage boost. You know what? If you want, just chuck it back. You won't be able to penetrate everything, but you shouldn't be, and you won't be able to have a flat out extra damage on the otherwise already buffed up tech weapons. Yeah, lower this to 18 if you want, and just slot in, so you can still get this one, which is very very powerful, and bomb the extra stuff into intelligence, and bam, you can get the 9 one here. You can get even this one if you want. Let's see what else you can. Yeah, you can get RAM recovery as well if you want to play around with a little bit extra with intelligence. Not the actual, not the best of the best ones, like this one's really on it. But this is weird because it's every 4 minutes it recharges a nice chunk if it does with a 2. This really comes in handy when you have a high intelligence anyway and you're focusing on net running stuff. But yeah, at 10 you can get extra RAM. I don't know if this is worth it. If you went with crit chance, then you might as well just use the buffed up crit damage and stuff. So yeah, that's it. That is it, ladies and gentle people. That is it. I've been rambling on about this for a while now. So to summarize really briefly, I would say too long didn't watch, but by this time, or maybe we will timestamp this to have it like this is the main considerations behind this. Really simple. Try to make the game harder for yourself or easier by either focusing on the perks you really want to get to. What you need, you should have. If you need more survivability, go with cool, cold blood, some survivability here, if it helps you out. It should be enough. If it's not, some crafting for better armor, buy better armor, have more armor mods, see how that tweaks your gameplay experience. Otherwise, more damage, pick something, go for that. But I would go for a jack of all trades in this case, because the game is fairly easy, and even with the jack of all trades, with crafting bonuses, you can pretty much reach that really good stuff right away. Plus, you don't need to have too many perk points invested in the various weapons anyway. Like for assault here, if you want to use fun extras, pick the fun extras where you need to work for it. Headshot damage increased. Oh wait, this is a flat one, but you need to headshot. This is extra hit chance from behind cover, extra damage from behind cover. So that this is and there's a crit damage, but you need to crit for that. So it's not much work on your end, but you get the gist of it. Long shots is in order to have the flat bonuses of you trying to stay back. It's just pick the stuff that interests you in gameplay as a theory, and then test it out. And if it doesn't work, well, you can load back a previous save. But after a while, you will get so many perk points. Like see this. I haven't even set up the build planner to have really higher skills, and other skills will be high as well. You should use them just to get the perk points from the skill tree. In the beginning, they dish out 2 points at least per skill, something like that, 1 or 2, maybe even 5. And if you devote those into these like handgun stuff is actually pretty fun to play around with. That's why I told you it will be hard, especially at the beginning, but it's nice to play around with. Quick hacking again, but you can pick something that really is your damage dealer. Engineering weapons, way too overpowered. That's why I said that I would actually just go for this one and this level 50. Closing in, I would just increase them. If there's a perk you really need, like this one, tech weapon charge time, I don't think you need to go at 18 that fast. The only thing you need to go at 18 is actually the legendary crafts. Hover this at 14. This is not hover this at 16 maybe if you want to get the mods back right away. But you can make the game harder for not having the mods on the weapons, or not having the best mods. You should craft your own mods. It's gonna be rare crafts, maybe some epic crafts. Fine. You need only level 12 then. Let me double check if you need anything. Yeah, maybe the not shooting automatically. Hover them at 14 or 16. Perfectly fine. Perfectly fine. Up until the level 46, and then the extra 4 levels will be this buff. Or actually no, around level 30. Around level 30, 18, and the extra 2 is level 8, and 48 will be this one. Same thing with reflexes. See if you need the extra higher tier skills, like this one, the farther with submachine guns. If you find yourself using submachine guns a lot, go to 18 at least, and just wait around with that extra 2, and reach intelligence 8 sooner. Reach cool. Again, cool is also, I think, around one more thing in cool. But yeah, around, look at this, 11. We don't even use anything else, but you can, of course. There could be some nice survivability stuff here, like immediately cold blood max stack at cool 14. The cool 16 if you hover there, or if you get there, it's not removed as a full stack after 10 seconds, but only one part of it at a time. This is also very nice. Increase the damage dealt by silenced weapons while sneaking. This is only works by sneaking. So while sneaking, you get this buff, which is very nice too. With silenced weapons, you can stay hidden for a long time if you are far enough. And let me tell you this: submachine guns are obviously not meant for sniping. And but even though this is the case, and even though most cases you need multiple headshots to take down someone from a submachine gun, especially from farther away. But if you have this one, extra buff, increased damage from headshots from outside combat, maybe even extra kick chance right there. And if you will see if you need this flat out buffs as you go. But this is there, and from the reflexes assault you get to 18, and you get this the farther away. It's somehow there's a weirdly satisfying feeling in this game. How from with silenced submachine guns, power submachine guns. I think these are the only ones that can be silenced, which is I don't like it. It's called silenced. Suppressed submachine guns are a very fun way to take down the enemy one by one from stealth, and it levels up your stealth kills very nicely as well. So it's cool. This is the main consideration. That's it. That's what we should do. Right. See, we have one skill point better. So if you have this, we're already over again. And you will have this very soon. Like the first few levels of every skill is very fast. Only after that you can feel that you need to work for the extra levels. And thank you for your attention. I hope these considerations helped you out in any way. Yes, no, feel free to write it up in comments on any of the platforms I am on. And hey, we can redo the whole thing if something else comes up and it changes everything I thought about. So far it works for me nicely, for multiple characters now, to tweak around my own experience in a way that I can enjoy it to the fullest. And thank you again. See you guys next time.